Hey everyone, so today's video is another palette of the month video. So I'm going to be updating you on my previous palette of the month, which was the Alamar Cosmetics palette, and then I'm also going to be introducing to you my palette of the month for August. So if you want to see kind of a little review and swatches of this palette, stay tuned. So here's what this palette looks like. It's a beautiful palette. It's more of a summery color story. So I do really enjoy this palette, and I think it has a lot of more unique shades. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of go through every shade and review it and also show you guys swatches just so you can see. So the first shade we have here is the shade La Costa, and this is a really pretty kind of pink champagne metallic color. So I will swatch it for you guys, and I did use this shade about 6 times. And I mostly used it as an inner corner highlight. You could also use it as like an all over lid shade. And you could actually use this all over the face as like just a face highlight. Some of these shades are very hard to pronounce and I have no idea how to say them. But next up is this greenish metallic shade. It's like a gold green shade. And I think this is one of the more unique shades in this palette. So this is what it looks like. And it's probably the only shade in my collection that I have like this, and I mostly use this shade just for all over the lid. I kind of experimented with this palette today, and I put this shade on the inner corner a little bit, so that's what the bright shade on my inner corner is, and it just has that little bit of a green tint. And I did actually take La Costa and put that right over it, just in the inner corner part, not necessarily on the inner portion of my lid. The next shade is this deep blue color called Veradero, and this is a stunning deep blue metallic shade. So here is what that looks like. As you can see, it's super intense and deep. So this can look a little bit muddy on the lid, and I would also recommend doing your eyes first with this palette because there can be a lot of fallout, especially with those metallic blue shades. But this is a stunning shade and it does look beautiful all over the lid, or sometimes I would also just pack it on the outer corner of the lid. The next shade is more of a teal bluish shade. So this one's a little bit lighter of a blue, and this is probably one of my favorite shades in the palette, and again, it's more unique. My favorite one is probably this green one just because it's so unique and it looks kind of scary in the pan, but it's super wearable when you put it on the lid. And same with this Celia shade, this light blue. It looks kind of scary in the pan, but then when you pack it all over the lid, it looks really beautiful. That's what I have packed in the center of my lid right now, and I do have like a little glitter topper over it, but that's like the base color I have on my lid. So yeah, this is one of my favorite shades in the palette, and I think it's one of the more unique shades as well. Now we're moving on to the matte shades. So this orangey matte tone is called Cocoa Taxi, and these matte shades are really beautiful. They are super pigmented, but they blend out really easily. So this is what that looks like. It's just a kind of orangey toned, almost cream soda shade. So this is really good as a transition. That's mostly what I used it for. Next we have this more red tone shade called Tropico. And again, these mattes are super pigmented, but they're really easy to blend. This is the warmest shade in the palette, so I feel like sometimes these don't really go together, but then when I ended up putting them on my eyes, I feel like they actually went together really well. So I feel like you wouldn't choose these to go together, but they actually do go together really nicely when you apply them to the eyes. The next one is this more purpley shade, and again, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that shade name, but this is more of a berry toned, and so this is like your second deepest shade. So I use this a lot to deepen up my outer corner and also as a liner. So this is a really pretty shade. It's more of a berry tone, like I said. So these two matte shades are a little bit warmer, and then the other two are a lot more cool toned. So the last one we have is this deep brown shade called Cafecito. And again, this is just a really deep brown, so it does work really well for deepening out the outer corner. And I also use this to do like a shadow wing look. So there are all of the shades swatched, and again, I feel like this color story is more unique. I feel like I would not pick all of these colors to go together, but when you use this palette on the eyes, all of them really do go together really nicely, and I feel like you can't really mess up a look as in like the color story. So these blue shades can be a little bit difficult to work with and give you a lot of fallout, and also it's when you're working with blue shades, fallout is not good because it falls under your eyes and it makes your dark circles look even worse. So I would definitely recommend doing your eyes before your face when using this palette, especially if you're going to be using these blue tone shades. I found the mattes were fine. The mattes didn't really have any fallout. It's really just these metallic shades. So yeah, I would be careful with those. But overall, I did really love and enjoy this palette, and I'm glad I have it. This did come in a BoxyCharm, so I didn't purchase this with my own money, necessarily full price. But I do really love this palette, and I'm excited to have it in my collection, especially with some of these more unique shades. So I also like that it is a little bit smaller. Obviously, there's only 8 shades in it. I feel like they could have made it a bit more compact, but this packaging is really beautiful as well, so I have no complaints. It's also really like thin, so really my only thing with this is if I'm using the blue shades, I have to do my eyes first, which I don't normally do, but because of the fallout, I really don't like doing my face first with this. So now the palette that I'm going to be focusing on for the month of August is actually a bunch of my single shadows, because I really have not used my single shadows at all. So I recently reorganized my single shadows and put them kind of into color stories that actually go together and that I like. So this is my favorite one I put together. It has kind of like Urban Decay Naked Honey vibes, especially, well, more these top 2 rows. So if you cover up the purples, really you just have all those mustardy yellow tones. So I think for this month I really am going to be focusing more on the yellow tones, but if I feel like dipping into some of the purples, then I will. So I think the main shades I'm going to be using in this palette though are the yellow, more warm tones, because also I feel like those are just a bit more summery. So I'm really excited to get more use out of my single shadows because I definitely have not used these enough. So that's it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Also, with the Alamar palette, I do have a tutorial on it. As you may know if you've been watching my channel, I do a Shadow Saturday series with my palette of the month every month. So I will link that tutorial for you guys, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I do post new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, so if you want to see more from me, make sure to subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell icon to get notified every time I post. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.